The big three, GM, Ford, and Chrysler. These three companies have dominated the automotive production landscape for...
What? That's not correct? You're telling me they aren't the big three?
Huh. Well, I'm being told that the big three is actually Naruto, Bleach, and One Piece. Sorry for the confusion. Anyway, let's continue. The big three, when it comes to anime, refer to the biggest three anime of the early 2000s. These titles dominated Shonen Jump as the three properties that were the most influential and the most popular at their time. Even most non-anime fans have at least seen or heard of one of these works. But one always stands out from the rest. One that most Americans or anime watchers in general are probably intimidated by. That show is One Piece. Just like the rest of the big three, One Piece is a shonen anime, but it was the only one among the big three that wasn't super popular in America. One Piece is the most popular manga and anime series of all time in Japan, but in the States, despite groups of people having enjoyed it, it never managed to reach the same level of fame of Naruto and Bleach. Now why is this? Why is it that the most popular Japanese anime since the 2000s, and even to this day, didn't grasp the hearts of more of its American viewers? Well, unfortunately, I'm not qualified to answer that question. Now, while I'm not qualified to break down why specific shonen appeal to specific audiences on a global scale, I am qualified to explain why I personally think One Piece is a wonderful shonen, and explain why I think it at least deserves a watch. So first, let's look at some of the popular complaints of the show so we can address why older or newer anime viewers might not have liked it starting out. The two most common complaints I hear when it comes to starting One Piece are 1. It's too long, and 2. The art style is bad. Well, starting with the first point, being that it's too long. One Piece has been ongoing since 1997. It has 96 volumes, 970 plus chapters, 929 anime episodes at the time of this writing, and it just keeps on going. Now obviously, these numbers can be intimidating, but I can still safely say that it's so worth the watch. The second complaint is mostly opinion, but people don't like the cartoony art style of One Piece. People say that it can make the show feel childish and it turns people off, even though the story does possess some darker themes masked by the cartoonish art of One Piece. This same complaint can be said for Hunter x Hunter's 2011 season. The original 1999 season had a darker art style to match its darker themes, while the 2011 one had a lighter art style, probably to juxtapose the darker themes. But anyway, back to One Piece's art. I personally feel that Ichiro Oda's art is fantastic. Though the characters may look smoother and simplistic, a trademark of cartoony shows, the backgrounds displayed in One Piece are incredibly detailed and expansive, making it hard to think that this was drawn by him, with help of course. The only thing with the art to me is that the fight scenes, despite being well animated, can sometimes be hard to look at due to the frantic movement of the characters. But even though we've talked about the art of One Piece, we still don't really know what One Piece is. So, what is One Piece? Well, One Piece is a manga/anime series written by Ichiro Oda about a kid named Monkey D. Luffy who, before the spurring of society into a great era of pirates by the Pirate King Gold D. Roger, lived a peaceful life in Windmill Village. Before his execution, however, this Pirate King had declared to the world that he had hidden his legendary riches beyond what anyone could imagine and challenged the world to try to find it. Everyone became excited by the prospect of finding this legendary treasure, including Luffy's friend and pirate whom Luffy looks up to, named Shanks. One day after Pirate King Roger's declaration, Shanks had come back after a long expedition on sea, carrying a devil fruit along with him as cargo. Luffy, naturally curious and hungry, accidentally eats the devil fruit, granting him an incredible power at the cost of never being able to swim. Because of this, Luffy's life was put in danger, and only after Shanks' rescue at the cost of his right arm, Shanks was able to save Luffy from drowning. Shanks, before leaving again to go on another long expedition, gives Luffy his signature straw hat, telling him that when Luffy becomes a pirate, he can give it back. Luffy's strong willingness to become a pirate as a result of Shanks' promise set Luffy on a journey to find the treasure left behind by the Pirate King, the One Piece. From there, the story of One Piece focuses on Luffy as an aspiring pirate king who finds and recruits his pirate crew in order to become strong both individually and together on their path to find this infamous treasure. It's a really simple story of Luffy's journey to find One Piece, but because it's so well written with so much depth and complexity, it elevates the show to one of the greatest shonens, or even one of the greatest stories ever told. Everything about One Piece is phenomenal. The characters, the story, the writing, etc. I can't gush enough about one of my favorite shonens and one of my favorite shows ever, surpassing my previous favorite shonen, Hunter x Hunter. Now what Hunter x Hunter did was make you care for every character in its cast. This even includes the side characters that are often thrown to the wayside in popular shonen anime. By focusing on each character, Hunter x Hunter was able to create an interesting world with an even more interesting power system and create a story that was engaging. One Piece does all of this and excels at it. Let's start with the characters. The main crew of the Straw Hats, or Straw Hat Pirates, which is used to describe Luffy's crew, consists of Luffy, Zoro, Sanji, Usopp, and Nami, at least in the East Blue arc. In addition to these members of the crew, other Straw Hats join throughout the journey as well, but for now, we'll just focus on the first 5. Each character of the crew gets their own unique story arc and a dedicated part just about them, with Zoro's being the first and Nami's being the last. Each arc in East Blue showcases one of the Straw Hats' backstories and establishes that each character is their own person with their own goals. This is the thing that I like the most about One Piece. Everyone has a dream that they want to achieve. They don't just form fit to Luffy's goal of obtaining the One Piece and becoming the next Pirate King. Now, I'm not sure if this next part is a spoiler, but I'll drop a spoiler warning in case, because I do detail character dreams and backgrounds vaguely. Zoro wants to become the strongest swordsman because of a promise that he made with one of his training partners. Sanji wants to reach what's known as the All Blue, which is an ocean where every part of the world converges into one, delivering every fish from every part of the world in one place. Usopp wants to be a strong pirate just like his father, and Nami wants to create a map of the entire world in order to become the greatest navigator. All of these goals come with purpose. There are reasons for each goal, and throughout the show, all of the characters, not just the ones from East Blue, strive in achieving their own goals, not just Luffy's. In each arc, not only does information on these goals get dropped, but characters grow, whether it be through fighting ability, which I'll be honest is most of the time, or through stories that add more to an already established character, such as during Whole Cake Island. This type of attention to character and their unparalleled depth proves that Oda really cares about the characters in this world. In addition to its great depth of character, Oda demonstrates a great depth of plot as well. This is shown in the way that One Piece answers almost all questions that the reader has, and gives reasons behind every decision and choice. Now you may be thinking, well duh, aren't all anime supposed to do that? Well, while this is true in that most anime aim to make their characters' drives and motivations reasonable and substantial, I've noticed that One Piece does this really well. Since this is a long-running story, Oda withholds information until it's absolutely critical to the story, which gives the viewer more insight into the world little by little in perfectly timed increments. This is showcased in how the audience starts out with Luffy's little town and moves to the larger East Blue and then are thrust into the massive world of the Grand Line. With every new arc, something always gets dropped or referenced that will either come back or will be explained in a later part of One Piece. You might think, I loved that character in that one arc, I hope they come back. Well, One Piece makes you really enjoy every character, even if they're just side characters, who also get introduced and developed. The best example I can think of is Kobe, who serves as Luffy's first on-screen encounter and gains development despite his lack of recurrence. Now this is a living, breathing world, and no two characters seem identical, which is crazy from a story as massive as One Piece. This being said, though the world doesn't get super deep until the Grand Line where we learn about the Shibukai, new power systems known as Haki, more about the Marines, and lots of other bits of lore that help the universe come to life. Another spoiler warning just in case. I talk vaguely about the power system used in a future part of One Piece. If you don't want to hear this, skip here. The main power system of Haki, like other things in One Piece, is foreshadowed from the Skypiea arc onwards. We get introduced to it in Skypiea as a different name, but as we move forward through arcs, you see characters who are stronger than the Straw Hats, but we don't know what it is that they're using. Before this, we see power systems that are not Haki, but can be added on top of Haki to make the person way stronger. Because there are other things besides the Devil Fruits, fights become more and more interesting with new and unique powers that aren't just devil fruit powers. Haki itself, without spoiling too much, is a simple yet sick power system that characters use in creative ways. Fights in One Piece are pretty formulaic, but are pretty interesting through the use of strategy and character combat growth. So in every arc there's that one big bad guy who's saved for Luffy, while the rest of the smaller fry get taken care of by the other Straw Hats. In Alabasta, the characters have to overcome new obstacles to grow, like Zoro slicing through metal and Nami harnessing the power of the clown attack. Luffy has a great fight there too, and even grows from the experience. The arcs themselves, besides Fishman Island, Long Ring Long Land / Davy Back Fight, and Dressrosa, for me, were super consistent. Each arc is interesting and has something new to bring to the table, whether it's introduction of new characters, a place to introduce things for a future arc, info about the world, info about One Piece, and so much more. There are also many arcs that employ a time limit system. There's a goal for every arc to defeat the main bad guy, but there are usually time limits and many other obstacles in the way, creating tension and even more entertainment for the viewer. Now, out of all of the arcs, my favorite arcs have to be Water 7, all of Summit War, all of East Blue, and probably Whole Cake Island. And yes, these are really arc names. The next best thing is the flow of One Piece. It's been revealed in multiple interviews that Ichiro Oda has the entire story of One Piece planned out. With how the show plays out, you can definitely see it. Last spoiler warning, I swear. I detail vague plot points for arcs in the future, so just skip here to continue. A great example is when the crew leaves East Blue. They get swallowed by Laboon, who is this huge whale that you learn more about in the show. When this happens, they meet Miss Wednesday and Mr. Nine from a company known as Baroque Works. From this we go into the next arc, which takes place where Baroque Works is stationed, then slowly into the next arc of Alabasta, stopping at another island with more members from Baroque Works combating the Straw Hats, then to pick up another Straw Hat known as Chopper. With this plan Oda has, things lead into other things, which lead into the next big arc. Reading it without filler is spectacular because everything flows. Every chapter ends on a cliffhanger, leaving the reader wanting more, and everything works. The manga also tells stories through the covers of new volumes. Some are actually story relevant and develop the characters a bit more. Unfortunately though, the anime only adapts some of them. When I first read the manga, I couldn't put it down. I started it in the summer of last year and finished it in January of this year. My friend read the entire manga in 4 to 5 months. The excellent storytelling makes the story that addicting. The only overall complaint, however, is that while I like the anime, things get changed and filler becomes added, deviating from the flow of the original manga, and in my opinion, disrupting the flow of the story. However, this doesn't mean that the anime is objectively worse than the manga. The anime has excellent voice acting, music, and actual animation in the beginning, so it's at least worth watching just for that. An example of a direct improvement from the manga comes when you look at the fight scenes. They become a lot easier to dissect in the anime. Now, there are still problems with One Piece, mainly because of the anime. Now, these complaints are both personal and public, so just be wary. First, it's well known that after the time skip, One Piece's anime gets way worse. Toei Animation has been a household name for such a long time, but their newer shows don't look as good, probably due to them balancing a billion shows at once. This applies to One Piece as well. While they still have some stellar animated fights post-time skip, you tend to have some parts that just look rough. For me personally, I thought it was fine. Maybe due to me just watching things that were way worse. I'm looking at you, Food Wars. What's bothered me more was pacing. Post-time skip drags because each episode only adapts like a chapter or two, making each episode feel like only 1 or 2 things even happened, sometimes none. What's even worse is that they extend the openings to 2.5 minutes. That's almost the length of a full anime opening. Again, TV-sized openings are only 1:30 to save time for the more important things, like, the show. Unfortunately, added to the 2.5-minute openings are recaps, everyone's favorite. This lasts for another maybe minute or 2, sometimes longer. Now with all of that out of the way, we are 6 to 7 minutes into a 20-minute show. Padding is horrible in the anime of One Piece. Instead of filler arcs, which there are a couple of, They mix filler with canon, which is what's relevant to the story. For example, in the Davy Back fight arc, they add more games and basically change who does what in the arc. There's also an example of this in the more recent Wano arc, where in the anime, the fight's extended, but it's over in a second in the manga. It's dumb because it forces you to watch through the filler because it's also canon in some parts. Ridiculous. Good thing out of all of the big three and most shonen shows, there's actually very little filler, so that's nice. In addition to this, I also have a personal gripe with the speed of the arcs. There's a lot of One Piece arcs that start out really slow. Oda takes his time to build the towns that are rich with culture that the Straw Hats visit. Once the actual conflict starts, it gets faster and more interesting, but you'll have to wait a few chapters or episodes to get to it. The arcs that bothered me that did this that I saw were Alabasta, Skypiea, and Dressrosa, all of which I enjoyed by the end, but really didn't care for in the beginning, especially Dressrosa, which has some cool things, but was overall not my favorite arc. Thankfully, the manga is fantastic, so even though I'd highly recommend the anime for its fantastic music, openings, and fight sequences, you can fall back on the manga if you ever find pacing problems with the anime. Now finally, because it's a shonen, it falls under the common tropes like underdogs rising above because of talents, power systems, lots of fights, and of course the biggest one, the power of friendship. That sounds like a bad thing, but to sail to the final island, Luffy's crew needs to be dependable and trusting. Luffy's plan of obtaining members of the crew consists of people that fill roles and also people who are nice. Pirates are considered the enemies everywhere, but Luffy and Goldie Roger seek a place of freedom for pirates, and these two crews are much more kind and supportive to other groups, unlike your stereotypical pirate. As such, a strong bond with the crew is essential in traversing the Grand Line. Luffy makes sure to showcase his strong desire to protect people, which in turn makes some of the crew join Luffy. Luffy might be dumb, like most main characters in shonen anime, but his ideals are what make him one of the better shonen protagonists. Overall, One Piece fits the shonen genre so well that it works, and since the show actually develops characters and makes the viewers really enjoy them, it's one of the only shonens that I feel that can be legitimately sad when it needs to be. It's also super funny. Like most shonens, it has a lot of comedy and tons of recurring gags, like Zoro having no sense of direction, or Sanji becoming useless when he sees a woman. One Piece is so packed with content, and because of the content and the overall flow of the work, I can't recommend this enough. If you'd like to attempt One Piece, which I highly recommend, you can watch all of it on Crunchyroll, Verve, and Funimation. Soon, you can watch the East Blue and Alabasta arcs on Netflix on June 12th. You could also watch the 4Kids dub.
Yo! Don't give it up, Luffy! Don't give it up, Solo!
Please don't. As much as I like this opening, which I'm serious, I do like, the rest of the dub is horrible. If you want to watch it in English, watch the Funimation dub. It may be only at the Punk Hazard arc, which is more than 300 episodes behind where we are now, but at least it's not the 4Kids dub. The 4Kids dub changes so much and even gets rid of certain arcs like Little Garden, which is important to the story. The voice acting is fine to me, but if you want to watch any dub, watch the Funimation one. They took a hiatus after Fishman Island, but on June 2nd, they'll release new episodes starting from Punk Hazard. Anyway, thanks for watching. Hope you enjoyed today's video, and if you did, please subscribe and follow the socials. Additionally, I've actually been posting more often recently, so keep an eye out for new videos as well. Have a great day, and I'll see you all in the next video.
「羅針盤なんて渋滞のもと」